Welcome to the Beyond Sunday podcast, brought to you by the Azalea City Church of Christ and your hosts, Terry Cagle and Justin Barnes. Join us as we discuss faith-based living.
Hey everyone, welcome back to episode number 2, Justin, already. We survived episode 1. This is our podcast. If you're just tuning in, it's called Beyond Sunday. Really a great outpouring of encouragement. And really, we appreciate that so much.
Yep.
I know that a lot of people shared it. A lot of people have been talking about it. And such an encouragement to us. But again, it's not about us. It's about God. We want him to get the glory. But here's the thing that was really encouraging to me is people came up with ideas and topics they want to hear. And I'm super excited about that. I know you are. And we're super excited about what we're going to talk about this week. Justin, why don't you go ahead and tell us about that?
Yes, huge thank you to those that reached out. Like, it really is encouraging. So cool to see that, and appreciate just, again, the love, support. And yes, from listener feedback, right? Of, hey, I want you guys, or I'd love to see you guys build on the aspect of community. So we talked about community last week. If you haven't gotten a chance, please go listen to that one. And we'd love your feedback as well.
Yeah, and just about that, I should have said, you can find us on iTunes, or I guess the podcast app on Apple, Spotify. We're also on there, and then also on YouTube. What you can do, if you don't mind, is just hit subscribe and then put your notifications on, and that way every episode will come to you, and you'll see it on your phone or whatever device.
So tonight, we're going to start with a challenge, really a question to us all, and it's something that we're going to share more about later, and I would argue that I probably still struggle with sometimes, is have we replaced community with convenience?
Yeah.
So have we taken, we saw how important it was in the early church in Acts 2 of how the community of people really helped really establish, but helped grow the church,
right?
All right, and grow the spread of Christianity throughout the world in the first century. But we see how awesome, people talk all the time about, hey, look, this is my tribe, or this is my village, or these are my people. We all need community. Nobody can argue. Now, we can fight it, but we can't argue that we need people in our lives. I'm afraid, though, sometimes, and I know because I can point to it, is that sometimes we choose convenience over community because it's so much more convenient to be this in a group of people instead of carrying on a conversation.
Right.
And that's something that, again, we talked last time about how awesome social media can be. And we're trying to use this as a way to push really positivity and encouragement onto social media. But it also can be a detriment if we're not careful. If we're not careful.
Right. And that's one thing that was important to us. We don't want this to be a bash social media because of the positives of it. We don't want it to be bash devices and such, because I'm reading notes off a device. I've got a device right here. This is going out on social media. I have social media. But there is a danger in isolating ourselves with that. You know, it just makes me think that I don't really necessarily remember my mom ever calling up neighbors and asking for sugar or tea bags or anything like that. But there was a time when people did that.
You grew up in Wilmer. Y'all were 4 miles away.
Exactly. That's very true.
I grew up in a neighborhood.
Yeah.
No, I specifically remember of having to go over to Miss Peggy's house or something, maybe get a cup of milk or I recently, seriously, you said this the other day and it made me remember my neighbor right now, like the other day, asked if we had something that they could borrow.
Wow.
And look, we love our neighbors and trust them. I said, look, we're not home, but here's the code to my house. You can go in and get what you need if you need it. But
well, in your neighborhood, it's still going. That's good.
Right. But that is a kind of a lost art or aspect of our lives and community.
Right, because I think that if we're not careful, we start isolating ourselves. And I said it last week, it used to be your kids go out and they play. As kids, we go out and we play and all that. But now we're so concerned about stranger danger because we read it on our phones and we hear it on the news and all these things that all of a sudden we, instead of being in community, we've kind of isolated ourselves. And that goes with what you're saying, that we're choosing sometimes the conveniences of life over the community to be involved in. And I just want to say about the early church real quick is This was referenced last week, but we also, the church was growing. Hear me out. We need to be in the Bible. I firmly believe that we've got to be in our Bibles every day and study it every day. But they weren't just known for being in the apostles' doctrine or the Word of God. They were known for being involved in people's lives, being there for one another, loving one another, helping one another.
So, the shirts and we see stickers and stuff that people have, and it says faith.
Correct.
And it has the line in fear. So faith over fear, right? I think of that when we were talking about this podcast and the idea and the title and all. It has to be for us community over convenience.
Absolutely.
Right. We need to, and I hope we can continue to highlight the need for community and how maybe this week as a challenge too, and we'll maybe get more into it later, of challenging ourselves, giving ourselves homework to make sure we're intentionally seeking out people instead of just oh my goodness, get away. Used to go to the grocery store and maybe even be a family event, maybe see folks from in the community out there and talking to them. Nowadays, people who have their AirPods in and they're just maybe
I'm guilty of it
watching
too
something.
Sometimes,
Or I don't know all the programs and all, but you can get not DoorDash. DoorDash is one of them, but you can get Instacart. Where you subscribe to it, you shop online, and they bring it to your door.
Walmart
and it's
delivery, Target delivery,
right?
Pizza Hut delivery. Now it's all, and COVID did a lot of that to us, but it's we didn't come out of some of that, and the convenience of it is isolating us. Just full clarity here, and I'm not going to mention any names like we didn't last week, but Justin and I really were going to go with discipleship this week, and so we had a suggestion that we thought was very, very good, and talking about some of these things. And so we're trying to marry the two together, because if you think about it, there is something discipling us.
Absolutely.
What is discipling? Well, it means that we're becoming its follower. A disciple of Jesus is a follower of Jesus. Disciple of whatever is a follower of that. And so if we're not careful, the things in culture, these conveniences that we're talking about, they can also become they're discipling us. We're following them. And, with that, it leads to impatience. It leads to anxiety. It leads to being distracted, isolated. That was the big one. And certainly putting the focus on ourselves.
If from the Christian standpoint, if you and I aren't discipling someone, or being discipled by someone, not discipled by our phones or our love of money or love of fame or anything else. But if we're not discipling someone or being discipled by someone, we might need to reconsider some of our life choices. Maybe we need to change some things, because that aspect of discipleship is incredibly important. It's what Jesus gives us as this great commission of going into all the world and baptizing people in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit there in Matthew 28. But he also tells us to go and teach them, right? The things that he has taught us. So we're supposed to, as Paul says in 1 Corinthians 11:1, we're supposed to imitate him as he is imitating Christ. Absolutely. So that's, like you talked about, following in the footsteps. It's that imitating, becoming more like Christ. You talked about it last week about being imagers of God. Correct. We need to obviously be discipled by Jesus himself, but they're mentors within our churches and our families and our coaches, whatever. We need to make sure that we're being discipled by the right people.
Right. Justin, I think what you said there, sometimes it makes us uncomfortable because it's going to cause us to examine ourselves. Sure. And I just want to be fully transparent here. A few years ago, I was with my family at the beach, and the kids were little, and so of course they love being in the water, and the water was really warm, and it was just they were playing and on boogie boards and all those things, and I was just sitting there in the waves, just watching them. And it was such a time when I was relaxing. But what it let me do, this was the first time in my life I can ever remember having self-examination. I'll never forget where I was. I stopped and I'm like, Terry, are you the husband you need to be? Are you the dad you need to be? Are you the minister you need to be? The Christian you need to be? The example you need to be? From that day forward, every year, once or twice a year, I try to find that time when I can here's the bad thing, isolate myself from the distractions of the world and examine me. And I think if we all do that, first of all, we may be shocked at by some of the things that are discipling us. Yeah. But if we can come to grips with that and be honest with the person in the mirror, then we can change that. We can get that sense of community back, that sense of, hey, I'm tired of this being involved in my life and belonging, owning me, so to speak. And now I can do what I need to be better.
You know, Paul talks about it in Romans 12. And I know we referenced Romans 12:21 last week, but Romans 12:1 and 2, he talks about not being conformed to the patterns of this earth or society. Exactly right. And that's the same, like you're talking about, is we don't need to conform to things or, be changed by things, but we need to be transformed by Jesus. That's we need to make sure that he is the one that is renewing our minds. Our culture has a way, and I know you just talked about it, but our culture has a way of defining us and discipling us. And if we're not careful, we just start to become who we hang around, who, what we do instead of being who God created us to be.
Right. And I've used in Romans 12, and it may be a silly illustration, but I think you'll get it. When Bo was little, and even now, we do a lot of collecting of toys, cards, those kinds of things. Just we have kind of like a
kids at heart.
Yeah, we're kids at heart, but also do a lot of collecting. It's just a hobby that we like to do together. But when I was a child, Transformers were a major toy, and then of course I let Bo play with them, and then the movies came out, and but the Transformers I had were a lot easier to transform than his. But all that being said, the catch line for them is they were robots in disguise. Okay. So it might be this massive robot that when it transformed, it was a 18-wheeler or a police car or a ambulance or what have you. The point being is it went from something and it transformed completely into something else. That's what Paul is saying. He's saying, look, you have been part of the world. If we do that examination, we find out, hey, I haven't been part of a community. I've been discipled by conveniences, by the world. I need to have a transformation. Yeah. And that means I've got to do something to completely be what I'm not supposed to be.
I think we could look at various social media platforms.
Sure.
And you think of, and I think, look at Facebook. And Facebook to me is a lot like Instagram. Instagram's more just picture sharing, right. but it's the comparison platform, and we've talked about it for years, in different sermons or devotionals classes, that we need to watch out, because it's very easy to doom scroll through anything, right? TikTok, all that stuff, but it's very easy just to start scrolling and seeing somebody's beautiful family. Somebody's dog, kids getting along. Like my family and I just went on vacation to Hawaii. It was awesome. It's so, I'll talk more about it in a minute, but somebody may see a picture. We hadn't shared any pictures from it, but if we ever do, somebody may see that and be like, oh my goodness, look at their kids getting along. And let me tell you, our kids didn't get along the whole time. Let's just be honest, right.
I've told stories about pictures that I've taken too, that was not what the picture told.
That's right. You end up comparing yourself, and then I look at that and I'm seeing somebody's absolute best, and then I look at myself and I'm like, I just can't measure up. So we got to be careful with Facebook and Instagram, because those are more your comparison platforms.
You're exactly right. And it's amazing how many people post pictures and they have some type of filter. They have the light, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that or what have you, but there are a lot of things. When I was a child, we couldn't afford to go to Disney World. I mean, there were 3 boys, and we spent our money on groceries. But now you look, everybody goes to Disney World. Some of that was because I'm sure social media has just made it look so spectacular. Absolutely. And listen, Disney World's a great place. I'm not bashing it, but it's kind of like, my joke around here is, we talk about Halloween And then we just skip Thanksgiving and we go straight to Christmas. People start decorating for Christmas in October around here. That used to not happen. It used to not happen. Again, I think, social media has had played a part in that. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm just saying that's how we start conforming. And speaking of, you mentioned TikTok. I have about 30 followers on TikTok. Okay.
You're exploding.
Yeah, I'm really, really good. I never get on TikTok. Justin Wilkerson, who I said I wasn't going to shout out anymore, but sorry, Justin, you can edit it out. I don't care. He's going to start doing some sound bites and different things to start advertising this. So I got on TikTok just to see if any of that was out. Well, when I get on TikTok, it starts playing old country music. And listen, I love old country music, Waylon Jennings and
the algorithm
Johnny Cash.
Got you, didn't it?
And the next thing I know, and we just went to Dollywood with the teenagers. Dolly Parton comes up on there and all this stuff. And the next thing I know, I spent 45 minutes scrolling country music. That's why I don't get on TikTok, because it takes so much of that doom scroll just takes so much of my time. But again, it's that easy to get into something. Again, I'm not saying that's wrong, but when it owns us and we are not part of community anymore, that is something wrong.
Well, so if Facebook and Instagram are the comparison platforms, I think TikTok's probably the distraction platform.
Yeah.
And I think you can get, so I don't know all the ins and outs of all the social media platforms, but I'm assuming the Facebook and Instagram Reels became incredibly popular when TikTok came.
I guarantee you.
So you can see though, when you get, and I'll do the same with a Facebook or Instagram Reel, you just get going with it. You scroll to the next one. Then
they know what they're doing. Your algorithm is like, man, this is exactly what I hear.
So if Facebook and Instagram is the comparison platform and TikTok teaches distraction, think about something else that's not social media. And we have it all over the place. Now, we see it on these platforms, but we see it everywhere we go. It's an advertisement, okay? Yeah. I think advertising sometimes, again, advertisers know what they're doing. There's a reason they're paying millions of dollars for a 15-second or 30-second commercial ad for the Super Bowl, right? Is because they are helping you to feel discontented with what you have, right? I no longer love my iPhone 16. I now need the new iPhone 17 or whatever it might be. I no longer love my truck that's a year and a half old. I need a new truck now because it has this new feature. It teaches this discontentment. And if we're not careful, then we lose the aspect. And I think all this boils down to community, right? And we gain this matter of convenience and we just lose kind of sight on what really matters in life.
I mean, if you think about, I think the word is consumerism.
Yes.
If you look at the root word of that, it's consume. And so what it's doing is, if we're not careful, that's why I think we all need to have that examination of ourselves. If it's consuming us, that means we want more. Like you said, I need a new truck. I need a new boat. I need a new iPhone. I need a new iPad. I need a new whatever. Jesus never taught that. He taught contentment.
Yep.
And see, when we are content in Jesus, when we are content in the community of the church, a lot of that stuff becomes less important.
We, like I said, just went to Hawaii on vacation. First time I've ever been. Really, really cool. Nice place. Did a lot of fun things, like kids learned to surf. Like, to me, that was really cool to watch. But one thing that's
impressive.
Yeah. I thought they had like training wheels on there.
Mine would need it.
Or something. One thing Grayson and I did was we went and played golf. And it was the golf course was in walking distance of where we stayed. And just one afternoon, it was going to be 9 holes, had a super cheap rate for myself and him to play. And I thought, it's 4:00 was our tee time. Mm-hmm. We're going to go out there, be by ourselves. Yeah. Grayson hadn't played much golf, so I kind of wanted to just be him and myself. Well, then we get there and they say, hey, we've got you paired up with another father-son. My instinct, this is what I'm saying, I've got to work on this community over convenience because I know in this moment I place convenience over community.
That's going to be really inconvenient.
Yeah, my reaction is just like, yeah, it's inconvenient because these guys aren't gonna want to watch a 9-year-old maybe hack at it a little bit.
We've all been, if you've played golf, you've had those groups around you. Yeah.
And I'm thinking too, like, man, I just don't want to do it. I'd rather just be by ourselves. Grayson, as soon as he heard the starter say, hey, we've got you paired with another father-son, his immediate reaction was, oh, I get to meet a new friend.
Wow.
And
Does that teach a lesson?
Listen, he said that with an exclamation point, and I stopped for a second, just kind of examined myself like, all right, this can be a great thing.
Wow.
If I'm serious about the community that was established in Acts 2, I should use this as an opportunity, hopefully, to learn something from someone else, be discipled by them if they're good people, but also disciple and minister, whatever. So we ended up playing with this father-son. Now, Grayson probably was thinking there was going to be a kid his age. It was a kid that was a junior in college.
Mark and knowing Jason, Grayson, the way I know him, like with Bo and others, he looks up to people that are older and all that as well. He
absolutely loved it. Listen, he hit the golf ball better than I thought he would too, so shame on me. But look, I don't know their last name. Mark and James, they're from Maryland. It was great to talk to them. So towards the end of our round, pretty short, I mean, it took a couple hours, but 9 holes, Mr. Mark says, hey, you guys, can I make a suggestion to you or give you some advice? I'm like, absolutely. He said, you need to take a vacation with your family every year. And I told him, we talked about, he had older kids and I have younger kids, and told him we've done that over the last couple summers, finding time, and it's been great. He said, but I'm going to tell you one other thing, and they're not going to like it because I do it to my children and they don't like it. Take their phones.
Wow.
And I told him, I said, it was an opening for me to say, hey, I was in youth ministry for 10 years, and there were some times, not all the time, but on some trips, we had the little bag and we put phones in jail. And I told parents, like, hey, at 9 o'clock, I'm taking phones. I'm giving them back, when they wake up in the morning. Wow. All that to say, because I don't want to get too deep into that story, but that showed me, and I don't know if these guys are churchgoers or they're spiritually minded, but they saw the importance of community within their family, right? And that is something that it impacted me. And it reminded me that, and so I can learn from this guy that I didn't even want to spend 9 holes with, kind of,
It's amazing how God uses all these to teach us lessons. Well, I just spent Wednesday to Sunday with 37 other people. And when you're all together in one cabin, of course it has a bunch of rooms and everybody's in different rooms or what have you, but kids who and listen, adults too, we know how much we use our phones and how those are. And listen, we weren't in a place where we had signal. Even if we didn't, we had Wi-Fi connection or whatever. But it was amazing to me where the memories were made. The memories were made when they put those phones down and we were playing capitalism.
Yes.
I actually call it communism because I think it makes more sense. But anyhow, that card game, or, we had I know it was a video game, but still we were together playing a little tournament and, and other card games that they were playing and different stuff and just talking, and girls were making bracelets and, braiding hair, and not mine, but anyhow, others, and I'm just saying those were where the memories were made.
Yeah.
When you weren't on a phone, when you were being community together. And by the way, from that tonight, we come out of that trip and we start our service tonight with a baptism of one of those kids.
Wasn't that awesome?
And I still have to believe that it was that community, great parents who've done the right thing, great grandparents as well. Yeah. But I think it's maybe gave him the urge to get over that if he had been waiting or anything. And it again, going back to kids, right? Going back to learning things through them and teenagers, is sometimes we see the best lessons is in them. And what it taught me was they really love that community even over their phones if it gets down to it.
Disconnecting, not from people, but from this device or any device is just so rewarding. And I think we've gotten so comfortable with our phones. Like nowadays, man, growing up and date myself a little bit, I remember my mom having a bag phone in the car.
Sure.
Right. I remember before we had cordless phones, we had the phone that hung on the wall, had a cord you could you could almost go halfway to China with it sometimes and get wrapped up in all kinds of things. But used to, people went, like, you checked in with your spouse when you got home from work. Right. And these things are awesome. Yeah. Okay. My daughter's 11 and she has one. There's times where I'm like, are we doing the right thing by giving her a phone? But then there are times where we're able to communicate with her that it just kind of gives us peace of mind.
No, I get it.
You know, so
and then you have Life 360 and you know where everybody's at all times.
So there are some, I think, throughout, because we've mentioned it now twice through both episodes, is we want to make sure we're using the technology that we have
correct
in a fruitful way for us as well. So usually, and it happens about 9:00 on Sunday morning, because my phone goes off. You get a notification, if you have it set up, a notification to get your screen time for the previous week. And you can go to settings, iPhones, Android, I can't help you with anything. But iPhones, you can go to settings, scroll down a little bit, maybe halfway, and there's a screen time button. You hit screen time and it pulls up and it tells you. I just pulled mine up. Do we
want to do it right here live on?
Let's do it. So go to settings. Yeah, hey, you too. Go to settings. Scroll down, like, you kind of get through airplane mode, general notifications. At the end of notifications, it says screen time. You can click on screen time and it tells you what your daily average is from the past week. And you can look at,
all right, I'm in screen time.
Okay, now click on see all app and website activity.
Uh-oh, I'm a little nervous.
Yeah. You doom scroll, like TikTok might be up there now.
It says I got to turn mine on. I don't know if I want to.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't. No, I think it is very fruitful as well.
Hang on. I don't know where mine's at. Oh, wow. Okay. What did you have, Justin?
So for the week, daily average of 5 hours and 33 minutes.
I beat him.
Let's go.
4 hours and 59 minutes. Not by much, though.
I'm gonna tell you why my daily average is a little higher. So I'm up 42% from last week. I'm
up 36%.
I did spend an entire day and a half traveling from Hawaii back to Mobile.
Now I'm losing again.
Now I did stay on my phone a little bit.
Because I didn't go to Hawaii.
I will give that. So, but you can also look. You go to your apps and it'll show you Facebook, messages.
That's not the week. Again, this is all right here. I'm seeing this. That means I spend 5 hours a day on my phone.
Yeah,
wow.
And that's but it might be. So my YouTube
that's kind of hit me between the eyes.
My YouTube is up a little bit because we live streamed worship.
Yeah,
so you see how it's
that's
just
true.
Because it says 5 hours doesn't mean it's
all bad, right?
So I think we need to ask ourselves: are the apps that we're seeing here, is it are we being discipled by our culture, or is it my Bible app? Yeah. My Bible app, you could spend 3 hours a day, or not 3 hours a day. Sure. Let's be realistic. You could spend 30 you could spend 30 to 45 minutes a day while you're traveling around listening to a book on Audible or your Bible.
I'm in my Bible app every day.
So are our apps discipling us? Are they good apps discipling us? Are we conforming to our culture? Are we being renewed by Jesus? So I don't know. There's a lot to take from this, but I think it's important to examine every once in a while.
I agree. Going back to the examine, and I'm glad that you did that because I haven't done that. Mm-hmm. And so now I'm going to kind of keep up with that and just see, and maybe that's a challenge. And, man, I don't know. Maybe it's a wake up call to us.
Yeah.
You might think that 4 hours and 59 minutes, that's nothing. I've got this amount of time. I'd be anxious to hear some of it. But, I think what it's done too, it's created this sense of we think because of that, we're busy.
Yeah.
And let's face it, we are busy. We're very busy. But I think some of it is brought on by self.
Yeah.
I know that a day, as soon as I wake up to the time I go to bed, my mind is going to constantly be busy and thinking and doing, and maybe my body, I don't know. Hopefully most of that is good things. Mm-hmm. But when you think about Jesus, again, I know there was no iPhones, there was no TVs, but Jesus never was too busy for people. He was never too busy for community.
That's right.
And sometimes we say, oh, I'm too busy. I don't have time for that. And really, we have to say, are we? Let's look at our screen time. Are we?
We say it in an arrogant fashion, I think. Sometimes,
Yeah.
hey, man, how are you? How are things going? Man, I'm busy. Like, it feels like
it's what we're supposed to say.
Like I'm important.
Yeah.
Like people need me. I don't know. Or we just are exhausted all the time, which means I'm just so busy.
Right.
And busy is the new lazy, spiritually speaking. I know we've talked about that in some devotionals and all as well. But you're right. I think of the life of Jesus, but really the short span of his ministry. It was the most action-packed 3 years that anybody could experience.
I don't think we can say we were busier than him.
Absolutely not. But he never. Here's the thing about Jesus. Number one, he walked everywhere or rode, saddled up on a donkey. But Jesus seemed like he was never in a hurry. And this is the slap to me, is that I always when people say, hey, I know you're really busy. I'm like, yeah, but I hope filling my schedule with things that I love to do, but I do feel like I rush everywhere, and I hate that.
I do too.
Jesus never was rushed. Like if he was eating with somebody or socializing with somebody or preaching or teaching to somebody, he wasn't like, hey, I don't have time for you. I got to run over here real quick. No, he always finished what he was doing, and then he went on to his next event.
Yeah, and I know it's a joke, and I'm a big boy. Y'all keep giving me the long-winded jokes. But sometimes we'll be like, man, we were in church for this long or whatever. Yeah. We had dinner plans or what have you. I mean, think about what we just said.
Mm-hmm.
We're not taking enough time sometimes to focus on what really matters. And Justin, I don't really mean to get you to go through all of this, but you told me this morning how you were just so moved by the Pearl Harbor Memorial.
Yes.
But what you did when you went in there, nothing else distracted you.
Yep, that's right.
Because you realize you're thinking about all those who sacrificed their life right there so that we can have these things.
That's right.
And when you put that in perspective and you think about, I'm not that busy. Or if what I'm busy with, does it really matter? Mm-hmm. And I think that's a question. Again, it goes back to that examination. I need to examine myself as, am I too busy for community?
Yep.
Or are the things I'm busy with just things I've made myself busy with?
I had a basketball coach in college. He would always tell us, and he's really talking about when we're handling the basketballs, be quick. When you're making a move against a defender, be quick, but not in a hurry. Right. So you get in a hurry, you start to travel or turn the ball over or something. And I think that was Jesus, not the summation of his life, but in that 3 years of ministry, he knew he had to be quick because time was counting. Right. There was a deadline and he knew it. But he was never in a hurry.
Right.
And I don't know, I just lived such a hurried life, and I'm ashamed of that, I need to make sure that we live in the present. Yeah. I need to make sure I live in the present. The present is all that I am promised. So why don't I make the most of it? And if I get to the next event, I get to the next event.
Yeah. It took us 7 years to have a child. And so when Bo was born, Michelle and I both made the point that and again, with Madeline, we did it as well, but we both made the point that we've prayed for this child. We've waited for this child. We're going to live in every moment. And so I tried to make it a habit, and Michelle as well, not saying, oh, he's already 3 months old. I can't believe it. Oh, he's already 6 months old. I can't believe it. We tried to live in the 3 months. Yep. We tried to live in the 6 months. We tried to live in the 5 years and the 10 years. Well, then the next thing you know, he's graduating college and graduating high school. And people said, are you sad? Well, yeah, a little bit because, he's my buddy, at this point. We become friends, but not so much because it's the natural progress. And I guess what I'm saying is I never tried to wish their life away. I always tried to live in the right now. And that is so important for all of us.
My mom told me, parents have given us great advice. My parents have given me a ton of great advice over the years. Something that's always stuck with me when I was in probably middle school. Mm-hmm. It could have been high school, but I remember Monday morning. Who likes Monday morning?
Not
Right? Not many people in the world like Monday morning,
Right.
right? Even going to work. But I remember saying, I cannot wait till Friday. And my mom stopped me right there and she
Sure.
said, do not wish your life away. You just
Wow.
said it.
Yeah.
Do not wish your life away. I've told my kids that so
Right.
many times, like even recently. We're about to go on this trip, and then we think about when we get back, there's about a week and a half, 2 weeks left before you start school. Now we're down to a week. Yeah, they start a week from tomorrow. I told my kids, like, don't think of it, oh, I only have 3 weeks of summer left.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it like, this is awesome. I still have 3 weeks to do
Right.
whatever I want to until school starts, and then let's be excited about that.
Right.
Don't wish your life away. You said it. My mom said it.
Yeah.
It's important for us not to get so hurried that we're just ready for the next event, but we make the most of what we have right now.
Yeah. Now we're going to put our counselor hat on a little bit.
Yeah.
And I said this last week, if you listen, that if you were to take and test everyone in the United States of America today that is of age, they would, compared to the 1940s and 1950s, their stress levels would be clinical.
Yeah.
Because we've got all this in front of us. I mean, you think about, and listen, some of it I love, obviously, because you can find out information so quickly now. But we're in so much information overload that we've got so much going on that we have stress levels that a few years ago, if you think about a few decades ago, we'd have been clinically on medicine and everything else for it. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't people who have disorders. We know that. I have a disorder, and we'll talk more about that as this podcast unfolds. But a lot of the stress and anxiety that's out there, again, it's real. Mental health struggles are real. Stress is real. Anxiety is real. But some of what exhausts us in life itself is the pace that we chose, the expectations we've put on ourselves and we've accepted.
I have a problem with saying no.
Sure.
Me
too.
Like it's hard to. You want to be all things to all men. You want to help people out. And sometimes saying no is maybe a healthy thing for us. Right? What you're just saying is that a lot of the stress that we have is self-induced. So I think that's why it's important to look at that screen time, examine ourselves, compare the time that we spend on our devices and different things, compare that time from being entertained to the time that we're being transformed.
Right.
And see what's winning out. Are we spending more time being transformed by our Savior?
Right.
Are we spending more time being entertained by our devices or by culture?
Right.
What is, I'm putting you on the spot because we did not talk about this, but what is one of the greatest tools of Satan? And if you answer differently than I say, you're going to be right, and I'm just going to add to it. What is one of Satan's greatest tools?
To get us busy with things that do not matter.
100%. So Satan is not trying to destroy us.
No.
He is not out there like, I need to kill this person. I need to kill.
Yeah.
No. His main form of disconnecting us from God is all about distraction.
Absolutely.
If he can distract us, he wins.
No question.
That is why he's great at what he does. He knows us well. He knows what tempts us, what distracts us, what gets us away from the right relationship with God.
That's right.
And it is something that we need to be aware of, is that he's not, yes, Peter describes him as a roaring lion, right? Roaming around, seeking whom he may devour. But Satan is not trying to just devour all of us. He's just trying to distract us. And he wins. If he gets us distracted from God and disconnected from God, it's like what a bear would do or what a wolf would do, is trying to find the weak and the lonely, the isolated little lamb or little calf away from the group.
Right.
If he can get you away from the group, he's got you. If he can get you distracted, he's got you. That's what Satan is doing to us.
Yeah, I saw this in nature, and God tells us a lot through nature.
Absolutely.
Through animals and such, even though that we are the superior being or what have you. But You learn a lot through the way he designed animals. And again, probably a little graphic, probably a little sad, and a little, but you need to hear this. It goes exactly with what Justin's saying. I watched a documentary one time where a polar bear was really, the food had dried up. You know, the ice was melting and everything, and so he had a family, and so he swam miles and miles to be able to find food to take back to his cubs and different things like that. And so he finally finds these baby seals, or maybe they were walruses. Actually, they were baby walruses. And so he's thinking, hey, you know, we're about to have a buffet, you know, and so I'm going to get it. Well, those, like you said, they had ventured away from the pack. And so they're very vulnerable right now. And so here comes the polar bear. Well, all of a sudden, some of those walruses see it. Here's what they did. They encircled those babies. And basically, Red Rover, send the polar bear right over. And the polar bear's thinking, well, I've got to get these babies now. I got to take them back. And so he charges, and those walruses tusked, again, sorry to be gross, but tusked that polar bear to death.
Oh my word.
And what they did is they said, hey, we're together.
Yep.
And we're going to keep the enemy out. Now, again, that's really graphic, but how do we keep the enemy out if we separate ourselves from community?
Yeah.
We're very vulnerable for him to be able to come and get us.
Imagine if that's how we protected each other.
I know.
Like that. So Satan does a great job of dividing families,
Sure,
and dividing communities, dividing churches.
sure.
You know, the nuclear family is not, it's not what it used to
Exactly.
be, you know? And he does such a great job. But what if we just committed to each other in our community to protecting the ones, and it doesn't have to be just young, but the ones that are maybe younger spiritually, that it might be weaker, or might be going through struggles of whatever.
Instead of bashing them.
Yep. And judging.
Judging them.
And gossiping about them.
Exactly. Yep. And you know, to me, Justin, that's what God wants.
Yep.
You think of the early church, man, they were, again, going back to that community, they were there for one another. And community's God's design. There's no doubt about it.
I don't know. I did look when we started to kind of keep an eye on time. I don't know how long we've gone. I'd say
either.
30 to 35, 40 minutes. I don't know. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
We're bound by any kind of
time. And if it's too long for you, break it up into a couple seconds.
That's right. I think, I mean, we haven't really touched the hem of the garment on all of this, but kind of in summation a little bit, I do want to challenge myself with something, and I think I can challenge other people, like anybody. It doesn't matter if you belong here. Everybody belongs here.
That's
Everybody's welcome here. If you are a part of our family here at Azalea City, something I've done from time to time, and way too much time goes on between occurrences, but I will get on Lightpost, which is an app that we have for Azalea City. I'll go through the directory, and one week maybe I'll look at all the widows and I'll call them. And listen, that's some of my family. You know, that's my grandmother, just some folks that I'm really close with here, and call them and just say, hey, look, I just want to call and see how you're doing. Right. How's your day going? And I've had conversations. It may last 3 minutes. It may last 33 minutes. And it is one of those things that every time that I talk and I say, hey, I hope you have a great rest of your week, I need to do this more often. And I still failed to do it.
Sure.
But I want to challenge myself. Terry, I want to challenge you and challenge everybody. Call, visit, go eat lunch, dinner, breakfast, whatever. Pray with someone this week. Okay, it goes back to that walrus example. Let's do it. Like we mentioned this last week about our prayer groups. That is an awesome example, but awesome time of community.
Right.
It doesn't have to be that, but a simple, while I'm driving and I stop at a red light, instead of grabbing my phone and scrolling through Facebook for 45 seconds, why don't I look up a number and call somebody and spend 2 minutes on the phone? And you will make their day. they will probably tell you that you have made their
No
day.
doubt.
And you will be, it's like things that we do, spiritually, ministry, serving. Whenever you go and serve someone, you end up feeling so much better, about, not necessarily about yourself,
You get
but
the benefit, right?
Get so much benefit from it.
Right.
It's a call, it's a visit, it's a share a meal, it's pray for somebody. Even if you don't call them and pray directly with them, spend time praying for somebody this week.
Can I add on another
Please.
challenge?
Yep.
That's a great challenge, and I amen it, and I will accept your challenge.
Yeah.
What if we took a time during the day when we're together as a family that we turned every device off? 30 minutes. Listen, I'm not asking for us to do it for 24 hours or anything like that. You might decide to do that. But 30 minutes. And let's look each other in the eyes. I tell couples all the time, this is how you build intimacy. You look each other in the eyes. You talk to each other. You listen to one another. And we do that, and we don't fuss.
Yeah.
We just let our children talk. We talk as couples. Whatever stage of life we're in, and I'm not talking about just our phones. We turn the TV off. We turn the radio off.
So many
whatever.
distractions.
Yeah,
That's
all
right.
the distractions you have. And let's just be fully present with our family. Can we do that challenge too?
That's right. Yes.
And so those are two challenges we're trying to leave you with. Again, we're going to challenge ourselves now. That's a challenge to us, and it's a challenge to you. Why? Because we need to ask ourselves, what's discipling me? What's shaping me? Have I lost that sense of community? Have I given it over to convenience?
So where do we get, and I'll answer my own question, but where do we get our blessings, our need from community? It's ultimately we find that hope, that peace, that rest in God. I mean, God's the one that blesses us. God's the one that has created us. He knows every detail of us, of our bodies, of everything.
Right.
We sang a song tonight. Now tonight we are recording this podcast Wednesday night. It will come
By
to
the
you
time
later
you hear it,
on.
it'll be next week.
That's
yeah.
right. But we had a singing night tonight, and I can't
Incredible.
leave. I can't leave without saying how uplifting it was. Okay. Jason, who does such a fantastic job.
We're going to have him on the podcast.
Yes, and I can't wait for it. Yeah. Introducing new songs. We have a singing class here of incorporating those into our worship. Like, it's been very uplifting. One of the songs we sang tonight, and I had to search for the lyrics. I was like, I'm going to incorporate this somehow. Not necessarily a challenge, but a great reminder for us this week. How can I keep from singing? Okay, These are the lyrics. And I won't read everything, but here's how it starts. There is an endless song, echoes in my soul. I hear the music ring. And though the storms may come, I'm holding on to the rock I cling. So we talk about this being an uplifting podcast. If you're struggling with any kind of mental health, we want this sense of community. Let's remember where we get the need of community and where our source of everything comes is from the rock that I cling.
Absolutely.
Okay. Then it goes on the chorus. How can I keep from singing your praise? How can I ever say enough? How amazing is your love? How can I keep from shouting your name? I know I'm loved by the King, and it makes my heart want to sing. Here's the second and third verse, and I'll read the chorus again. I will lift my eyes in the darkest night. No matter what's going on, I'm going to lift my eyes, for I know my Savior lives. And I will walk with you knowing you'll see me through and sing the songs you give. How can I keep from singing your praise? How can I ever say enough? How amazing is your love? How can I keep from shouting your name? I know I'm loved by the King, and it makes my heart want to sing. Like, I hope
that's beautiful.
This podcast, I hope that you can find encouragement in nature, in God's presence in your life, that we go throughout our week, and not just this week, but the rest of our lives, knowing that there's no way that I can keep from singing the name of Jesus and knowing how awesome he is, knowing that he is the rock that I'm going to cling to. It doesn't matter what storms or what valley I'm going through. He is going to walk with me every step of the way.
I had a professor. He's gone on to his reward in college. He made a statement that I probably didn't understand fully at the time, but it was only Bible majors, and he was just this old school guy, but he taught us a lot of great things. He said, men, always stop to smell the roses. And listen, I'm not a flower guy, but I understand what he meant.
Yeah.
Take the time.
Yeah.
Put down the distractions. Make sure you're doing everything you can. Sunday's critical, but we got to live beyond Sunday.
Man.
And if we let conveniences, distractions from the rock, from the Savior, from the church, from life, get in our way, then you talk about stress levels being clinical. You talk about busyness. You talk about distractions. You talk about isolation. Those things are really dangerous. And so we got to take time to, quote unquote, smell those roses.
I don't want to steal anything. Do you have anything left to say tonight before we wrap up?
I'm good.
Our ultimate goal as Christians is to get to heaven.
That's
That is it, right? Now, we are commissioned to bring people with us, to do our best to go make an impact with the resources and the blessings that God has given us. But in doing so, just like you're talking about, make sure you stop and smell the roses, is we must enjoy the journey.
Absolutely.
Like our ultimate goal is heaven. We should, like the Hebrew writer says, we should fix our eyes on Jesus, who is the author and the perfecter of our faith.
Right.
But I need to enjoy the journey. And I can't stop and smell the roses. I can enjoy the journey if I'm just always have my face buried in a device, or I'm live my life in the Chuck E. Cheese Dave and Buster style, so distracted because of all the flashing lights and noises that the world and our culture presents us.
Right.
It's Satan's tool to distract us.
That's right.
Like you said, we're striving. And we're not there yet completely because we're trying to grow ourselves. We want to live beyond Sunday.
Absolutely.
We want to take what Sunday means. It means that we serve a risen Savior, and we're going to serve and worship an audience of one. But we want to take what we learn and what we know, and we want to take it and live Monday through Saturday the same exact way.
Good stuff, bro.
Yeah, love it.
We just ask you one more time. Go to whatever device. There we go with devices again.
Use it in a positive way.
Good thing.
Use it in a positive way.
But whatever
platform
you have, whether it's Apple, whether it's Spotify, whether it's YouTube, those are the three I can speak to right now. Mm-hmm. Hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, share this with someone. Once again, please hear us out. This is not about Justin and me.
Correct.
This is about God. Mm-hmm. This is about you. This is about growing and living beyond Sunday, getting to heaven. Thank you for all the feedback. Thank you for the encouragement. Absolutely. Please keep praying for us. And we can't wait to tune in, for you to tune in this week, and for us to be able to continue to make different podcasts for you to tune into each and every week.
Thanks, everybody.